Hi, fourth grade. Let's add some color to our up art today. So I'm going to show you two ways to add the color. One with marker, and here's a finished sample of the marker. I think you need 2 days to do the color. So let's do half of the color today and save half of the color for next art class. I just think it will be too much time for one sort of art block. So I'll show you how to use marker. But I also want to show you how to use a material like colored pencils or crayons, because you can do something different with the colored pencils and crayons that will affect the way your artwork looks. So let's start with marker. And I'm not going to show you the whole thing because that would be a lot of time, but I'm going to get you started. One of the things I want you to see is that there's two patterns happening in the adding of the color. So one of the patterns is brown, green, brown, green, brown, green, and the other pattern is yellow, orange, yellow, orange, yellow, orange. So two approaches with your drawing today. If you don't have a drawing that looks like this, you want to follow the instructions from last class to go ahead and make that. Okay, so what I can do is I can just do one pattern and leave the other one blank for next week, or I can just do yellow, white, yellow, white, yellow, white, brown, white, brown, white, brown, white, and then go back in and fill it in. So here I'm using 4 colors. You could, which is like an AB pattern twice. You could do 6 colors, which would be an ABC pattern twice. I hope that makes sense. So when I'm picking out my colors, I want to pick colors that have high contrast. That means they are very different from each other. So purple and blue next to each other on the color wheel, not very different. However, dark blue and light green, even though they are also next to each other on the color wheel, they're different because the dark blue and the light green are different. Okay, so let me show you what I'm going to do here. I'm going to go ahead and show you how to just do these 4 for today, and then we'll save the other 4 for next week. When I'm adding the color, I'm going to work with my paper in all different directions. So first I'm going to trace the little shape, and then for the small ones, it's easy to fill in. For the larger ones, I'm going to think about the direction that my marker goes so that I'm filling it in on the curve as well, because you will be able to see those marker lines. And so you want to use those in creating your design. So first, again, I'm doing the edges so that I stay within the lines. And then as I'm using my marker, I'm sort of holding that marker in the middle, pressing down so I get the wide line, but I'm having those marker lines, my marker strokes, follow my curve. And then back up here, let me just tuck a scrap paper, and I'm going to go off the edge, following the curves. And I could do this green, white for all 4 of these, and then come back in and add the blue. Or I can do one at a time, but the technique is the same, where I'm following the edges first, whoops, filling that pothole a little bit, and then going back and forth. If you only have skinny markers, I probably wouldn't create this artwork with skinny markers, because I think you'll run out the markers too much, because there's a lot of markering that's going to need to happen. And so my curve filling in with curves is going to help continue really that curve design that's happening with my lines. And that will enhance or make it more looking like an optical illusion. Whoops, I think there we go. And so again, I don't know if you can see what my hand is doing. It might be in the way. I'll flip it this way. I'm going to come this way, following the curves, and then just touch up those potholes. And then I would do this, not in this one. I'm going to skip this one, but the green, blue here, the green, blue here, the green, blue here. Then I'd pick 2 different colors to do these for next week. So if you're using the marker, again, these 4 sections or triangles would be the green, blue, and then I would pick 2 different colors here. Okay, so that half of it will have color in it today. Now let me show you how to use something like crayon. It's going to be similar with the patterning and what I try and accomplish today, but the difference is going to be that I'm going to vary the pressure. Do I have a green? Okay. I'm going to vary the pressure as I'm coloring in that curve. So I'll start here with this one. On the edges, I'm going to press harder, especially on the side edges. I'm going to press a little harder. And then as I'm coloring through the shape, I'm going to press more softly. So use more pressure on the edge to make it darker, and use less pressure in through the middle to make it lighter. So that when I come across the curve, my pressure changes. So it's darker on the edges or stronger pressure on the edges. So again, more on the edges. And I'm still sort of adding the color with the curve in mind and lighter through the middle. And what that light through the middle is going to do is really, again, make it look rounded. Let me jump up and do this one. And here I'm following the curve. Excuse me. Following that curve as I add the color, but I'm using more pressure on the edges. So there you can see it's darker on the edges, more pressure, and through the middle, it's softer. I'm still keeping my crayon lines close together. Let me show you the blue here. We'll just do this one. I'm going to do more pressure on the edges. You can sort of see how I'm not going all the way across, but I'm starting from the edges and coming in towards the middle. And I'm going to do the same on this side. By starting at the edge, I can have more pressure, and then that pressure changes. I can even go back and darken that edge a little bit. Can you sort of see what's happening there? It's creating sort of this highlight through the middle. And again, my expectation for you today is not to add color to the whole thing, but add color to half of it. And there's lots of different ways that you could sort of do half. All right, there we go. This idea would also work with colored pencil. But because I have a lot to add color to, I think I would either choose the markers or crayons. And again, because it's lighter in the middle, it's going to make it look a little more round. I can come back, there's my color. Just add a little bit more pressure and darken the edge. I don't want it to look like stripes. Sorry, I just did that without you seeing. I don't want it to look like stripes, like where the edges are super dark and then there's this light stripe through the middle. I just sort of want to change that pressure gradually through the curve. Okay, can't wait to see your work. Only color in half today.